What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's Thirsty Thursday, and I'm on the road. And, if this season is going to be successful, we need a lot of turnarounds from a lot of players. And one of those players that we expected a lot from that didn't have a good season, it just started off bad. Let's be clear here. It's funny how everybody goes through and they say, well, Dak sucked before he got injured, that his season, that he wasn't playing well, or his numbers weren't good, which is true. I have to 100% agree with that. But there's some that's on Dak, and there's some that were beyond his control. And see, what happens a lot of times is a person will have a great season, and they'll immediately anoint them as a great player. Okay? For example, Philly 500, he talks about, well, Dak Prescott had Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson had 680-yard season one time with Dak, when Dak had CD and Amari Cooper. Since that time, he can hardly get on the field anywhere else. So he was actually he was helped by the situation. It's kind of like, I'll give you an even better one. Alvin Harper. You couldn't tell me that Alvin Harper wasn't a great receiver. Okay? He was an incredible number 2 receiver for the Dallas Cowboys when they had Michael Irvin, Jay Novacek, Emmitt Smith, and that offensive line. When Alvin Harper had to be a number 1 receiver, he got paid to be that in Tampa Bay and then by Washington. He was exposed as just a guy that was working well in a system with people around him. Okay, so let's take that out of the way. Jake Ferguson had a Pro Bowl season his second year, and you said, oh my God, we got one of those guys. And we were looking for Jake Ferguson to have a great season, to, take another step. Unfortunately, off the bat, his season got derailed. His season got derailed because he hurt his knee immediately, which once you get your knee injuries, or, like you think about the PCL injury or the hyperextension for Zeke, he wasn't the same guy after both of those seasons, midway through, after he had those things happen to him. It's hard to recover. The difference of being healthy versus not in the NFL can be the difference of being successful or being a bum. Add to that, Jake Ferguson got the concussion, missed a game, I think it was just one game, but was in concussion protocol. And so his season just stumbled out of the gate. Now, we'll add to this thing as we go through here, and we talk about how Dak wasn't playing good to start the season. When you think about everything that happened last year, because beyond, so let's look at it. First of all, they didn't know who was going to be the starting running back. Remember, it was kind of like it was Zeke or Dalvin Cook, week after week. We had Dalvin Cook, was one week, he was the flavor of the week. We had Rico a week. We had Zeke Elliott, we threw in Deuce Vaughn from time to time. We just never were able to run the football, in which case, literally, I remember doing videos on how inept the Dallas Cowboys running game was. It was, for the first 8 games of the season, the worst running game that the Dallas Cowboys have had since their inaugural year in 1960. It got better as the season went on, but that's still, the Cowboys were like 28th in yards running the football last year. It's not where you want to be. So you have Jake Ferguson hurts his knee early. You've got an inept running game, and your number 2 wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, has an infection in his knee. That's how we started our offensive performance. Oh, and we had a rookie center, and we had Tyler Guyton, a rookie left tackle. But all you hear, Dak Prescott wasn't playing good before the injury. He had one weapon. CeeDee Lamb. No tight end. Running game inept. And 2/5 of your offensive line brand new to the NFL. So Jake Ferguson admits that, last year, man, that was, like he said, first year that he's not had a touchdown catch. And that's not his standard. He's looking to rebound big time. And what you have to understand about tight ends are the original Jay Novacek, the security blanket, that when shit hits the fan, you got that big target of a tight end that you can get the ball to that saves the quarterback's ass. And with Jake Ferguson being injured, it wasn't good. Now, Schoonmaker, he did start picking up some of the slack. He was playing better as the season went on, but still, the Cowboys' tight end play, for the most part, throughout Dak Prescott's career, has not been great. Now, you can say, well, he had Jason Witten. Well, by the time Dak Prescott got Jason Witten was going downhill. Jason Witten still had a lot of catches, but you look at his yards per catch, per completion, basically, it had gotten to the point where teams just looked at it and said, don't cover Jason Witten. We would rather him throw to Jason Witten than to, say, Amari Cooper or anybody else who can actually go to the house. It was by default, please let him go to Jason Witten because he'll catch the football. We all know that. But he ain't breaking shit. Schoonmaker, they say, could be in trouble because Brent Spann is playing really well and really catching Brent Spann Ford is really catching the eye. Oh, I'll be back.